Okay, I think we're live. Welcome, everybody. My name is Joshua Music, and this is my dad, Marvin Music. We're excited to be here with you tonight. We are going to be doing two things tonight. First thing we're going to do is we're going to teach you all about the 5 things, how to be prepared for the 5 things that Medicare will never cover. A lot of people come into Medicare thinking that it's just going to cover everything and it's going to be free. And the truth is that's not true. So we're going to be going over how to be prepared for the 5 things that Medicare will never cover. Okay, so while we wait, we're going to usually like to give a couple of moments for everyone to get logged in here. So while we wait, go ahead and drop where you're tuning in from in the chat below. Our headquarters here for MedicareSchool.com is in Overland Park, Kansas, which is a suburb of Kansas City. So go ahead, let us know where you're from in the chat. Always curious to see that. Once we're done teaching, we're also going to go over any questions that you have. So any questions that you have, we'll sit here for about an hour, and we would love to answer your Medicare questions. We do this every couple weeks, and there's always a lot of questions, and it's a good time for us, and hopefully it's a good time for you as well. So welcome. So we've got people from, Virginia, Ohio, New Jersey, Idaho, Joshua Tree, California. That's beautiful. Atlanta, Oxnard, California, Tucson, Texas, Florida, Mosinee, Wisconsin, Temple, Texas, North Carolina, Sarasota, Florida, Kansas, Western Colorado, Tampa, Oklahoma City, Raleigh, for all over the country. We are so excited to have you all. So excited. JR, you said you're sick of all the phone calls. We understand. That's exactly why we started this company, so that you can be educated and empowered, not have to fall bait to somebody who's trying to sell you something over the phone. Las Vegas, Tennessee, Maryland, California, Buffalo, New York, California, Parkville, Tennessee, Washington State. Wow, we're excited to have you all here.
We are. And also, I want to mention that if you have any Social Security questions as well, we could address some of those in addition after that.
Social Security, Medicare, everything's fair game. The goal here today is to stump my dad. So we've never done it yet, but maybe we can.
I'm sure you can.
Okay, let's go ahead and hop in. Okay, it says, I'm seeing a comment here that says no sound, seems to be frozen. Can you guys hear us? Put a yes in the chat. If you can hear me, put a yes in the chat. Here. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so without further ado, let's hop into how to be prepared for the 5 things that Medicare will never cover. And I don't even know what they are, so I'm excited to learn right along with you.
Medicare is great coverage, but it doesn't cover everything. So there's actually about 8 or 9 items. I'll just mention all of them briefly. Number one, probably the biggest one you have to be aware of, is that Medicare does not cover long-term, what's called custodial care or nursing home type of a situation. And the way to remember this is that Medicare exists to cover things that are medically necessary. And so when we have a long-term care situation, it's important, but those needs are typically called custodial. Custodial needs would be someone needs assistance with bathing or dressing or eating, or they have continence issues. Or maybe they're in a wheelchair and they need assistance getting from the wheelchair to the bed or from the wheelchair to the toilet. That's called transferring. Someone has cognitive issues, dementia or Alzheimer's. And they have issues relating to those kinds of things. Medicare says those are custodial, not medically necessary, and they're not going to cover those type of things. I think it is important to note that if someone, let's say I have a stroke and I have Alzheimer's, well, all the time that I am being treated for my stroke, Medicare is going to cover my custodial needs. But once I have recovered from that, from a Medicare standpoint, now Medicare is no longer going to cover those custodial needs. Okay, so that's number one. You do need to be mindful that there are a couple ways to pay for custodial needs. You can self-pay. Some people choose to do that. Some people have long-term care policies. The traditional long-term care policies really are almost becoming a thing of the past, which would be long-term care insurance. A lot of people today that are wanting to get some type of coverage for long-term care, covering it either through annuities or through life insurance. Those are hybrid products, so that's an option. But everyone has to deal with it. One way or another, Medicare is not going to pay for it. Number two would be most dental care is not covered by Medicare. Medicare years ago put a stipulation in the Medicare legislation that other than major issues, Medicare will not cover any kind of preventive, no extractions, root canals, crowns, those kinds of things. You're going to have to be on your own with that. Medicare will cover certain things. Let's say I'm going in for a heart valve replacement, and they're going to make sure that my teeth are healthy. Orally, I'm healthy enough to be able to go through the operation. If someone were to have, let's say, jaw cancer, and there had to be a reconstruction of the jaw, they'll pay for some dental work in those kind of situations. So again, very, very extreme situations. Number 3.
Well, what can they do if Medicare doesn't cover dental, what do they do?
Well, the majority of people are going to get some kind of an outside plan. I think about half of all of our clients get a dental plan. And that would be a plan that's going to give you a couple cleanings a year, x-rays, and then normally the plans are going to cover about 80 to 90% of your basic services, extractions, fillings, and then usually 50-50 on any of the more expensive things, root canals, crowns, implants, those type of things. Those of you that want dental insurance, which I think is very needful. We can shop those plans. We write a couple different plans. I like the ones that don't make you go through a waiting period, where you've got some pretty quick coverage that also have a good annual benefit. $2,500 to $3,000 a year plus cleanings. Yep. That's very, very attractive. But those plans, just a good general rule of thumb is about $50 a month. Sometimes they're a little less, but that's a good
40 to 50.
Yeah.
There's some cheaper ones too.
Yeah.
And the way we kind of look at it is, okay, you're going to spend maybe $500 a year if you were to go self-pay for those cleanings, right? So for $500-$600 a year, you can get a really good dental plan that'll cover those cleanings for 100% and also give you an extra $2,000-$4,000 to be used on your teeth for other things. Yeah. And it's important to make sure that you get a policy that will give you what's called credit for prior coverage. Right. So if you're coming off an employer plan, there are some plans that'll say, hey, we're going to start a waiting period, so we're not going to cover anything for a while, maybe a year. And there are other plans that will say, hey, as long as you've had dental coverage, we're going to submit proof of that credit for prior coverage, and we're going to waive those waiting periods for you.
And be sure to do that. Usually you have 30 to 60 days after losing an employer plan. So you would need to move on that fairly quickly. But that's good. Another way people are getting dental today is if they choose an Advantage plan. Most Advantage plans today are going to have some type of a dental allowance. It's usually $1,000 to $1,500 a year. And things you have to ask is, do I have to go to a network dentist? And then some of them this year have been a little bit even stronger than that. And sometimes if your dentist doesn't take the plan, you may have to pay for it and then get reimbursed through a form you fill out. But again, Advantage plans sometimes will have some decent coverage for dental as well. All right, so that's, go ahead.
No.
Okay, I'm just going to follow that up with routine eye exams are not covered by Medicare. Now, I think it's important to clarify here that when someone goes on Medicare and they get a supplemental plan especially, you have wonderful eye care. So meaning if you had anything serious disease, glaucoma, cataracts, macular degeneration, wet or dry, you have great coverage by Medicare. Medicare is going to cover diseases of the eye, any kind of infractions. They're going to cover that. They just don't cover eyewear unless it's after cataract surgery, and they will not cover for eye exams for eyewear. They'll cover eye exams if they're medically necessary. Hey, doc, I see some floaties or whatever. Oh. They'll cover that, but just no eye exams for eyewear, which is considered like a preventive situation. So, and again, you can buy vision plans. We have some companies that actually, even with their dental, they'll add on a good vision.
Most of the dental plans out there, they will add in, give you the ability to bolt on a vision plan. It's usually $10 to $15 a month.
Very inexpensive. I think iMed Network right now is about $10. VSP $15-$16 a month. So if you do get glasses on a regular basis or contacts, you'll get your money back out of that. But again, Medicare has great coverage for eye.
I think one of the advantages of you can go somewhere and get glasses for like $100-$150, but then by the time you add all of the upgrades and the tints and the focal, like all the stuff, you're walking out after spending $750. So the vision plan just lowers that way down, and it really does make it worth your while if you're wear glasses. So
all right, that sounds good.
Okay, I see all the dental questions. We're gonna get to those dental questions. So we're gonna go ahead and keep on powering through the 5 things. But then we will come back and get to the questions. So if you have questions, put them in the chat, and then we'll come back. We'll start at the top, and we'll work down through them systematically.
Happy to do it. And then the fourth one would be elective surgery, typically cosmetic surgery. You know, Medicare doesn't care about my wrinkles at all. You're going to be on your own with that. So I did have a lady recently that had kind of some fatty tissue on the eyelid. It was medically necessary to remove that because it interferes with her vision. So they'll cover some type of different surgery. But as a general rule, nothing that's going to be elective cosmetic covered by Medicare. And then hearing aids and hearing exams for. Exams for hearing aids are not covered by Medicare. Yeah. There has been a lot of proposal about adding that to the Medicare coverage, but it just keeps getting, doesn't pass Congress. So hearing aids not covered. Those of you that may be concerned about that, if you decide to go with an Advantage plan, many of them will have a hearing aid type of a benefit. It does vary. Some plans will cover certain hearing aids and you have a copay that you're responsible for. Some will actually say we'll give you $1,000 a year per ear credit for hearing aids of your choice. So it just varies, but that's one way that you can get that taken care of. And there's a lot of over-the-counter options today anyways, for hearing aids. But Medicare is not going to cover those as of yet. And then I just want to mention, just real briefly, when it comes to routine physical exams, what happens, Medicare, when you first go on Medicare, your very first year, you're enrolled now in A and B both, you qualify for what's called a Welcome to Medicare physical. And this is something a little bit beyond the normal annual wellness checkup. They add a few extra things in there, an eye exam, and a few other things, but that's something you're only eligible for the first year. And then after that, Medicare covers annual exams. And this is important because many of you who are coming off work plans, you have been accustomed to really very attractive preventive type visits. You can go in for extreme, a lot of lab work and, you get a lot of things checked out when you're on a group plan because they beef up those wellness benefits. But Medicare's not going to do that. So we just encourage people that when you go on Medicare, you just want to, you tell the doctor, I'm on Medicare, whatever Medicare pays for preventive, that's all I want. So don't go in with your list of things you want because Medicare probably is not going to cover a lot of those items. But if it's medically necessary, doc orders it, it's now diagnostic instead of preventive, and you can get that covered. All right, so really those would be your big ticket items.
Okay. Do we talk about Advantage plans giving some hearing coverage?
Okay, we did. Yeah. Okay. Advantage plans have hearing aids.
So Advantage plans will have some hearing coverage, usually some discounts, but there's also, if hearing aids is something that is in your future, there are some what we call a DVH or dental vision hearing plans that some of the carriers offer that'll say, hey, we're going to spend $4,000 a year on dental or vision or hearing, and you kind of get to pick and choose how you want to use that. And so you can always call 800 number at the bottom of the screen and ask us about that if hearing is in your future and if you're on maybe traditional Medicare with a Medicare supplement. And we can, find a company or a plan that will blend those together and give you some good coverage for that hearing
it's good.
As well.
And I think it's good for everyone to know that when it comes to providers, just know that Medicare is not going to cover anything, any service that you go to a provider that has opted out of Medicare, meaning they're a concierge doctor or they've opted out, they just don't take Medicare. Unless it's urgent care emergency, Medicare is not going to cover that. So that's why we always tell our clients, you ask two questions. Number one, hey doc, do you take Medicare? Number two, is the service covered by Medicare? And if we get yes to those, then we're good to go. All right, so I think those are your main items that I wanted to mention.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to scroll way back up here in the chat. It's a long ways. There's a lot of you on here tonight. And we will start going through this. Okay, if you join Plan G, when we see a family doctor or a specialist, do I have to pay any copayment? Oh, you know what? Let me hit this. There we go. Is that what you were looking for? Okay.
All right.
If I join Plan G when we see a family doctor or a specialist, do I have to pay any copayment?
Yes, you do. And the way G works is you're responsible for your Medicare B deductible. This year, that's $226. It's once a year. Next year, that bumped up to $240. So let's say the first claim you have on Medicare is you go to see your primary care doctor, and that's a $110 visit. You will pay the full cost of that visit. Let's say the doctor does labs, and that's another $100. You're going to pay that. So when you take a Plan G, the very first $240 of medical expenses that's billed through the B side of Medicare is going to end up as a bill in your mailbox. You have to meet your B deductible, and then after that, you'll never see another bill. As long as Medicare pays first, that G plan will fill in all the gaps. Okay, so you will see the first $240. Now, let's say your first claim is an MRI. Well, you'll pay $240 of that MRI.
Good, but there's not a copayment. Like people think, like I go to the doctor and it's like a $15 copayment.
No,
Nothing
not
like
at
that.
all.
You're going to pay your B deductible, then it's 100% coverage.
Yeah, there's.
Okay, I did want to stop because I skipped right over this. So my name is Josh Music. This is my dad, Marvin Music. We started this company called MedicareSchool.com many years ago, and our goal is to do two things. Number one, to help everyone in this great country learn about Medicare, because we feel like the Medicare system is broken, right? We think that people come into aging into Medicare, maybe you're turning 65 or you're retiring from your employer group coverage, and all of a sudden you are surrounded by people, agents, sales agents who just want to sell you a plan. They don't care about educating you. They don't care about making sure you understand what you're getting. They just want to sell you a plan, make a commission, and move on down the road. And so we saw this for years. So 15 years ago, we said, okay, what can we do about this? And so we decided, why don't we just instead of starting with enrollment, why don't we start with education? And so that's what we've dedicated really our careers and our life to, is educating people about Medicare. The second thing we do is, once we feel like you're educated, and once you feel like you're educated, is we will help you enroll. So we've got many what we call Medicare guides or licensed insurance brokers that work for us. They're right outside that door there. We've got about 75 people out here who every day come to work, and their goal is to help you understand your coverage options that exist in your zip code, in your region. And so we can help people with enrolling into Medicare A and B, with enrolling into Social Security. We can help you with picking out, comparing a Medicare supplement plan, whether that's a Plan G or a Plan N or a Plan F. We can walk you through all the different Advantage plan options that are out there and help you determine which one makes the most sense for you. If an Advantage plan is right for you, then finally we'll help you with, drug plans, dental plans, hearing plans, vision plans, all these other types of insurance coverage that needs to go along with it. Because some people think they come into Medicare and the only thing they need is Medicare A and B, and that's just simply not true. Medicare A and B started in 1965 and has not changed a lot since then, but we know that medical inflation has gone up, 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 and up. And so you need to get some sort of a supplement or an Advantage plan or something. So again, we would love to help you. First, help you understand Medicare, get educated, and secondly, to help you enroll. And we've got a great team of people out here that would love to do that. So if at any time during this you would like our assistance, you can call the 800 number scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Our office is open from 7 to 7 every day, so that's Central Time. Central Time, so you've got about an hour and 40 minutes that you can call tonight, or you can call in the morning as well and schedule an appointment. It's just kind of a no-pressure scenario where we educate you and walk you through your options. So we will get back into the questions.
Good. Very good.
Marcia Mahaney, does Medicare cover naturopathic doctors or functional medicine doctors?
Mm-hmm. Well, as a general rule, naturopathic would be no. Now, functional medicine, honestly, Marcia, I'm not totally familiar with that. I will tell you this, here's how you can find out. You just call your provider, call the doctor, and say, do you take Medicare? In other words, have they gone through the process to be approved to be able to bill Medicare? And that's called a participating doctor, or some people call that an assignment doctor. And so ask the provider about that. But it's typically MDs, DOs, that group, not the naturopathic doctors. I have 7 children. Josh is one of them, but his oldest sister is a naturopathic doctor. She has that degree. Definitely does not take Medicare, and so I don't think it's real common.
Okay, is it possible to determine before blood work or a procedure takes place if Medicare covers it, or must one wait until after it's submitted to see if it's covered?
Oh, no, yeah, you would never want to wait whatsoever. In fact, a couple things. The safest way is really just ask the provider. They're going to know if it's going to be covered. So if it's preventive, probably not covered, but if it's diagnosed as, or coded as a diagnostic procedure, then they're going to cover that. But always ask the provider. And if you want to double check, then you can go, what I always do when I do this regularly, I just go online and I'll put in, Medicare and, or Medicare covers this. And there's usually some good articles and some very reliable information there. And I always like to confirm that with a couple different articles, but you can do it that way.
You can also ask the provider's
going to know. That's what I say. That's the best way, because they want to get paid. And so that's what I would do. So you definitely don't wait. You can always know in advance.
Okay, Okay, Lance says, I turned 65 March 24th, 2024. I plan to sign up with you guys on January 2nd or 3rd. Awesome. We'd love to help. Look forward to it. What day will my coverage begin? Because I'm planning on making doctor appointments in advance of your coverage. So your coverage, if you're turning 65 March 24th, you're eligible for it to begin March 1st. Okay, it's not like March 24th. It will always start the first day of the month that you turn 65. With the exception being if you were born on the first day of the month, you will actually be accelerated to the month previously. Right. So if you would have been born March 1st, your Medicare would be able to start February 1st. Right. But for the 2nd to the 31st, any time in that month, it's always going to be the first day of the month.
And your drug plan, Lance, and your supplemental plan or advantage plan, whatever you decide to do, will start then as well. Even if you're born on March 31st, it would still be March 1 effective date.
Okay. Medicare shows Part B and D. Social Security sent me an IRMAA for Part B, but not Part D. Medicare auto bill incorrect. Part B IRMAA, no Part D IRMAA. Medicare agent clueless. Social Security says eventually corrected. Common problem.
Okay, yeah, and it is. And here's the thing: it's always this way. The first couple of billings, guarantee you're gonna get billed for the D IRMAA as well. Anytime we have a B IRMAA, we have a D IRMAA. And those of you that are not even familiar with this IRMAA, only about 8% of the population has an IRMAA. It's an acronym that stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. And so what that means for 2024 is that if you're a single filer, if you are above 103,000 modified adjusted gross income, 103,000, above that, you'll have an IRMAA. If you're a married couple, if you're above 206,000 modified adjusted gross, you're going to have an IRMAA. And so for 2024, they look back at modified adjusted gross income for 2022. They always look back 2 years. So whoever this person is, that's what's happened. And so and whoever told you that it is a common problem, that's exactly right. It will happen. And I have tracked lots of these IRMAA invoices. So my suggestion to you is just pay what they're asking you to pay. Keep your receipts, and I will guarantee you within probably 3 or 4 months, when the dust settles, it will be accurate. I've never seen them truly make a mistake. It's just hodgepodge, the very first couple of invoices.
Okay, a D Angel, I went with United Healthcare Art Plan G October 1st. I was told if I didn't see a doctor before January 2024, there would be something I wouldn't be charged again for. What was that? Can't remember.
Yeah, that was probably the B deductible. Your B deductible in this year is $226. So if you get no healthcare services on the B side, there will be no cost whatsoever. So whoever told you that was just saying, hey, if you want to see the doc in January and you meet your B deductible, now you're done for the whole year because that B deductible is an annual amount.
Okay. Lance Heyer says, I'm also looking for the best plan for Idaho, not an advantage plan. Lance, when you call in January or when you have your appointment, we'll walk you through what those options are.
Exactly right.
Okay, what can I do about the gap where prescription cost is ridiculous?
Okay, well, I will tell you, Betty, the gap is still there. It's that we have it for one more year, 2024. But here's the reality. The most a person is going to spend this year, I'm talking about 2024, is $3,300 for the whole year. Now that may sound like a lot, but the gap is very reasonable now. You're going to be out of pocket 25% once you reach that number. And again, I'm not minimizing the pain of this, please. But hey, I've been in this business a long time. We've seen people have to spend $15,000, $20,000 a year on meds. And so the most you should spend is $3,300. And the reason for that is because in 2024, the catastrophic phase is zero out of pocket, which is awesome. This year it's been 5%. So that's when people still spend some substantial money. But next year, max is $3,300. Total. And folks, by the way, in 2025, max is $2,000. Yeah, wow. $2,000 in 2025.
Okay, Gilbert Gonzalez, don't want an Advantage plan, have Medicare and B, but will be needing Medigap plan and drug plan. What do you recommend?
Okay, well, first off, when it comes to your drug plan, most areas have about 20 drug plans to choose from. So we pick those based upon the exact medications you take and the pharmacy that you would like to go to. So we have a program we use, and our guides will do this all for you. But we'll load your meds in, pharmacy choices, and we actually let the software pick the plan for you. and it'll go through and it'll rate those plans. So that's really quite simple to do. Happy to do it. On your Medigap plan, if it were me, I would look at one of two plans. I look at a G plan or I look at an N plan. There are a couple other letters out there, but I'm just saying that's what I would do, G or N. G is going to cover everything but the B deductible. N covers everything but the B deductible and excess charges if and when they occur, not often. And you do have some copays on the N plan. And so for people that don't, want any surprises and, saving $30 a month, it doesn't mean anything to them, they go ahead and go with the G plan. But if $30 a month savings is substantial and you want to do that, then the N plan's fine. They're both good. You just want to go with the right carrier, and that's what we can help you with, to look at the carriers and the stability of their rates.
Okay, Kelly, I get a bill in the mail significantly higher than the $164.95, I guess, due to my income. Does this happen every year? Also, how do I know if the bill I received was the plan I signed up for?
Okay.
So it was the bill. So that bill, you don't have to worry about whether or not it was for the plan you signed up for, because it would just be for Part B.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think's happened, though, son. I think possibly what's happened, Kelly, if this is your very first bill, you were to build more than just 1 month, because if you're not on Social Security yet, they're going to take that Part B premium. The first bill could be 2, 3, 4, or 5 months, and then after you've met that first bill, then it's going to be on a quarterly basis. So that's what I think may have happened here. And I could be wrong. And Kelly, if you want to add,
I guess due to my income.
Yeah. So I get a bill. Well. And that's
so
fine.
It could have been quarterly.
Yeah, but I'm saying the very first bill definitely would have been.
Yeah, be higher.
It would have been $164.9 times 3, which is what, 500 and some bucks.
But it also then could have the new premium in there as well.
That's right. And so on here, Kelly, my advice to you is this. You will know if you have an IRMAA because you would have been notified by a letter once you signed up for Medicare that you were going to get charged an IRMAA. So you would know the letter comes first, and then they give the opportunity to appeal the IRMAA. So if you had a life-changing event, then you may be able to get that IRMAA reduced or actually dropped off the whole amount. So by him just talking about a bill tells me that's maybe his initial bill.
Okay.
So give us some more, Kelly, if you want. I'll try to follow up, but I need to know a little bit more to make sure.
Did they always send a separate billing for Part D?
And the answer is yes. When you have a drug plan, it can come out of your Social Security check, can come out of a banking account, or it can be a direct bill. And so you're exactly right. It's a separate company, separate everything. So yes.
Scott Baldwin, I was helped to sign up with a supplemental plan G with Ace Chubb Company. Why don't I ever hear that company mentioned in any of the videos? Well, really, we're not really allowed to mention company names anyway.
Yeah, sometimes I'm general, Josh, and I'll say United Healthcare,
Okay.
Aetna, whatever.
Yeah.
But really,
Ace Chubb is good.
Chubb is a fantastic company. They got in the med sub business a couple years ago. That's the Ace part of it. They're larger than United Healthcare as far as an insurance company goes. So we're hopeful. We think they'll be a good, stable company. Yeah. So
you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, what is Part G?
Okay, Part G is actually Plan G. Medicare has 4 parts, A, B, C, and D. So a Plan G is a supplemental plan to fill in the gaps that Medicare didn't cover. Here's the way to remember it. Medicare doesn't cover anything 100% except for preventive services. So everything beyond preventive services, there's always going to be a balance of the bill. The balance could be a co-insurance, it could be a copay, and so that balance is your responsibility. So people will buy a supplemental Plan G and they buy it from an insurance company, so that insurance company has to pay for those gaps instead of it coming out of your pocket. So that's what supplemental plans do. They fill in the gaps that Medicare did not cover. G plan, the plan itself, because you pay them a premium, pays everything for you but the B deductible. The N plan pays everything for you but the B deductible and excess charges and some copays. So that's a Plan G. There's 10 supplemental plan options, but the great majority of people get G or N today.
So Betty said, isn't it too late to change plan? Change plan's deadline was December the 7th.
No. The only thing you can't change now. By the way, you can't change today. Okay, but the only deadline that December 7th affected would have been if someone was on a prescription drug plan by itself. Those are called standalone plans. Those did have to be changed by December 7th. If a person was on a Medicare supplemental plan and was going to move to a Medicare Advantage plan, yes, the deadline for that is over. But once we hit December 1 here in a week,
January 1.
I'm sorry, January 1, what will happen is you can actually get off an Advantage plan during the first 3 months of the year. You can switch Advantage plans, or you can go back to original Medicare, get a supplemental plan. And then those of you that have supplemental plans, you can change those any time of the year. They have nothing to do with that deadline of October 15th to December 7th. So there's still opportunities to switch plans, but not drug plans.
Okay, will Medicare cover IgE allergy testing specifically for wheat, dairy, and egg?
Well, you're gonna have to Google that or talk to the provider about that. I did check on that, I think, once, and I do think they do pay for some allergy testing, but I think there usually has to be some kind of prerequisites before they're going to cover that, and I just have forgotten what those are.
So according to United Healthcare, it says Medicare Part B may cover allergy testing if you meet all the below requirements. Number one, your physician must prescribe the allergy test. Number two, your physician must be enrolled in Medicare and accept assignment. Okay. Number three, the test must be considered medically necessary, and your physician must provide documentation that says so.
Good, that's good. So a few little prerequisites there, doesn't seem to be too demanding.
But if you were to go like online and book it, schedule an allergy test to happen at LabQuest, that's probably not going to get covered.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Is Devoted an Advantage plan? Yes, Devoted is an Advantage plan.
Yep.
So we represent them. Good company.
Yeah.
So
they're not all over the country, but
no, they're not.
Just few markets. But we've been impressed with them.
Okay. Scrolling through here. Hang on. Yes. Lots of comments. Sorry, guys. Okay, now we're to where people are asking about dental. Okay. Okay. This is not a dental question. What carriers have a 2-year look back period, and what carriers have a 5-year look back period regarding underwriting?
Okay. Well, the way it works is it's really not about the carrier. It's really about the health condition. So what'll happen is a carrier may have a 2-year look back on cancer. Another carrier may have a 3-year look back on a cancer. They'll say, have you in the last 24 months been diagnosed with, treated for, or prescribed medications for a certain health issue? So that's when we talk about look back. Rarely are we ever dealing with a 5-year look back. However, a lot of times the applications will ask, have you had some kind of a surgery in the last 5 years? But just because you had that surgery doesn't mean they're going to hold that against you. As long as we're recovered from it fully, there's no more therapy going on, any kind of treatments going on, it is fine. So again, it's the health condition that really matters. So it's not by carrier. It's based upon, like for instance, if someone has psoriatic arthritis, or they have spinal stenosis or something serious like that, it's a forever look back. They're going to say, have you ever been diagnosed with? And then you'd certainly be declined. So it's the health condition that determines the look back period, not the carrier.
Okay, from Facebook. If you're not in our Facebook group, you should join our Facebook group. We've got tens of thousands of people in there, and you can ask questions in there and hear from real people about their experiences with Medicare. You can go to our Facebook group, look up the Medicare School Facebook group, and join that. It's a great community. A lot of really helpful people inside that. So Deborah is watching from inside of our Facebook group. She said, can my employer still contribute to my HSA up until the time I go on Medicare?
Yes. Now, here's the way that works, Deborah. They can. The month that you go on Medicare A, or A and B, either one, once you go on there, no new money can go into your HSA, but up until that point, yes. Now here's the key. Deborah, I don't know how old you are, but let's pretend. You're 67 years old, you're working, and you're still contributing to your HSA. Once you decide that you're going to retire and you're going to apply for Medicare, and again, I'm talking about you're 67, you're 68 years old, the month that you apply, from that date, what's going to happen with your A date, it will be backdated 6 months. And so if they're going to backdate the A date 6 months, that means that you nor your employer should have put any money into the HSA when that A date has been established. Okay? So if you're up to 65, no big deal. Once you're 65 and you go on Medicare at 65, you just stop contributions the month before. But some people continue to work on, and you can contribute to your HSA, but just stop at 6 months from when you know you're going to apply. Not when you want it to start, but when you actually apply. So if I apply today, December, they're going to backdate that 6 months. They'll never backdate prior to age 65, but they backdate 6 months or to 65, whatever comes first. Okay, and the new numbers are out, by the way, for 2024. I think it's $4,150 for individual HSAs, $8,300 for family HSAs. And then if you're above 55, you can put an extra $1,000 a year in on those plans.
Okay. I am working full-time with employer health insurance. I turned 65 summer of 2024. Do I have to sign up for Medicare A if I don't plan to retire until 2025? Will I get a penalty?
No, you won't. As long as your employer, Christy, has 20 employees or more on the payroll, you don't have to do anything with Medicare A or B. Nothing. Okay? Now, if the employer 19 or less, then you have to enroll in Medicare A and B because your group plan at work pays second to Medicare when it's going to be a small employer. Got it? So the answer is no. Now, I will tell you this, Christy. If you are not contributing to an HSA, health savings account, it is fine to go ahead to enroll in a Medicare A only when you turn 65. It's not going to hurt you at all. Now, what's going to happen in that situation is Medicare A with an employer that's 20 or more is going to be in the second payer position. So they may not pay anything, but they're still sitting out there. They may. Medicare A in the second payer position will not pay copays, will not pay any deductibles, but it will pay coinsurance. So you may have been on a group plan where you have some coinsurance responsibilities and you go to the hospital. Medicare A could pay some of that for you. All right. But here's the point. If you have an HSA, I would much rather continue to contribute to the HSA. Don't do Medicare A because I think that far outweighs the benefit of enrolling in A only if Medicare's in the second payer position.
Okay.
No penalties.
This is a good question from Stephanie Bailey. Does medication given in a doctor's office have any impact on the donut hole?
Not at all. No. No, that's going to be covered through Medicare Part B. As long as it is, again, a covered medication, which someone has osteoporosis, they get Prolia shots, very common. Again, it's outpatient, so B pays for that. The drug plans are the ones that have the donut hole, and those are for our self-administered medications, but not those things paid by A or B.
Okay, Donna Clancy, is chiropractic care covered?
Limited. The way it works is you can count on that your adjustments to the spine are covered by Medicare as long as your chiropractor takes Medicare. It would be an 80-20 service. Medicare pays 80%. You're responsible for 20%, or you get a supplemental plan to cover it. And they also will pay acupuncture, but there are requirements. Just like Josh read off that list of requirements necessary for allergy testing to be covered, same thing applies for acupuncture. I think it's up to 12 treatments a year, but there are some requirements, prerequisites for that. But no traction, no x-rays the doc does, heat therapy, all that. And by the way, I love chiropractors. I've got one that just has been very helpful. But Medicare just does not see a lot of those things that a chiropractor does as medically necessary. Okay, other than the adjustment of the spine.
Okay. Let's see here. Margaret Turner says, I am drawing survivor benefits with Social Security. I'm 66. Should I switch over to draw regular Social Security?
Well, Margaret, if you're getting by with that amount of money, what's good about your situation is your Social Security account is continuing to grow now up until age 70. It's growing at 8% a year. So what I would do, if let's say that you can keep growing that thing another $200, $300, $400 a month. If you don't have to have the extra cash, then I would go ahead and keep taking Survivor. And then once you reach age 70, about 3 months before, call a local Social Security office and let them know you want to switch from Survivor to your own benefits. And then you've grown that as much as you possibly can.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, just try this one. Roberta J. Social Security says I owe them money because I started collecting survivor's benefits at 66. I was born in 1956. and made more than 18 grand that year. They say my retirement age is 66 in 4 months, but their pubs say 66. Mm-hmm. So she's got a
your full retirement age is definitely 66 in 4 months. And so you started collecting survivor. Yeah. Survivor benefits are still subject to earnings test. It says, and you made more than 18,000 that year. Wow. I mean, this year the earnings test is $21,240. So that goes back a couple years. So I don't know.
But they're just reducing her benefits. So, right? They're taking it back because she made too much money.
I mean,
it
was
was 4
good
years
money.
ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. It made more than 18,000. Okay. Yeah. Well, if they're sending you a statement, a bill for that amount, probably what happened was they asked you how much you were going to make when you applied, and maybe you underestimated that. And so they would have calculated originally, because they usually find out how much above you're going to be, and then they withhold Social Security checks until that amount is totally collected.
Yeah.
And so that's probably what happened. They didn't ask you, or you didn't know, to make sure you're really, really accurate. But the bottom line is, I would pay it back if it's legitimate. Hopefully, it's not too much. But yeah, because eventually, if you don't settle up with them, I guarantee you, they're going to take it out of your Social Security. They'll withhold until it's paid back.
Okay, do dental plans limit your choices to a panel of dental providers? And the answer to that is generally yes, right? If you have an Advantage plan, that could be a pretty small panel of dental providers. Most of the standalone plans that we recommend, they're going to have a network of anywhere from 400 to 800,000 dentists nationwide. So they're big networks, big provider groups.
And I would agree. I would just say, though, that some of these plans, if it's a PPO plan, you can still almost go anywhere you want. It's just that you're probably not going to get as much bang for your buck.
Yeah.
And the billing, claims issues may not be quite as good. But if it's a PPO plan, even if the provider doesn't take it, you can still go there, and you may have to get a reimbursement. But I think it's your best deal when you find a plan where your dentist is in the network.
Okay, can I change dental plans at any time?
And the answer, you sure can. Yeah, the only issue would be, if you have a change, you just have to find out what the rules are when you change.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know there's some companies that have a missing tooth deal, and there's rules. Find out.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. My spouse of a decade. So Spike Allen says, my spouse of a decade never worked and will have access to Medicare due to my work credits as the working spouse.
Exactly right. But here's the deal, Spike. Let's say she's ready to go on Medicare soon. You have to have 40 quarters, so it sounds like you do. You work 10 years. But you also have to be 62 for her to be able to draw her Medicare benefits off of your work record. You don't have to be taking Social Security at all, but you have to be eligible. We had this happen recently. A guy was turning 65. He actually was, never ever worked. His wife did, but she was only 58. So he could not draw from her 40 quarters until she's 62. So as a Spike, as long as you're 62, she can draw. And by the way, you do have to be married for 1 year, a minimum 1 year.
Okay. David Mills, this is a funny question, kind of. Suppose I haven't met my Part B deductible and suddenly go into a coma.
Hope that doesn't happen.
Would Medicare A and B and my G supplement pay the providers even though I haven't paid the deductible because of my coma?
Yeah, I think so, because what's going to happen is the claims are going to still go through. It's just that $240 deductible bill is sitting in your mailbox.
Yeah. They're not going to not like.
Yeah, they will pay their part for sure.
Okay, let's see.
You just probably end up in collections on your 240.
Okay, let's see. Oh, here we go. Carlene Schrubersteel. I'm sure I messed that up. Howard Siegel, he works for us, assisted me in picking a new G plan. Also got dental and vision plan for 2024. Howard was great. Glad I gave you guys a chance. Thank you.
Yeah.
We love to hear that. If you're a client of ours, will you do me a favor and will you put in the chat the name of the person that assisted you? Or if you don't know the name of the person that assisted you, just put, I'm a client. And I always love to see that. Always kind of warms our heart. So go ahead and put that in there. Put the name of the agent that works for us that assisted you, or put that you're a client. Love to see that. Okay.
Howard's a pro. He really is.
Here's another one.
Great
Got here
guy.
late, but better late than never, they say. Just signed up with you through Corey Caldwell, and he did a great job. Thanks for all your help. Thank you, Dave and Diane, throwing caution to the wind, according to what your profile says. Okay, this is a good question. A. Hart says, every time you say not covered by Medicare, do you mean also supplemental coverage G?
Yes, I do. Yeah, because that's the way everyone needs to look at supplemental plans. They follow Medicare. If Medicare pays, supplemental plan pays. Medicare doesn't, supplemental plan's not going to either. One exception is foreign travel. If you're outside the country, because here's a way to remember it, Medicare only covers you in the U.S. states, 50, and the territories. That's it. So outside the country, your Medicare pays nothing, but your supplemental plan, there's 6 of the 10 letters cover it, G and N both do, and that's foreign travel. So what they do is they attach a $50,000 lifetime benefit to your supplemental plan. And that money is available for a foreign travel emergency claim. And the way it works, you have to pay the first $250 in deductible, and then they take the claim you have, and that pool of money pays 80%, and you pay 20%. But that pool runs out after $50,000, and it's not replenished. It's a lifetime benefit added to the supplemental plan. So yes, when I say Medicare doesn't cover, supplemental plan does not either, except for that $50,000 of foreign travel.
Okay, let's go to another one here. Does Medicare cover acupuncture?
Okay, we just talked about that. In some situations, yes, there's certain rules to get the acupuncture covered. You have to make sure that you've met those prerequisites, and you can easily Google that. And remember, the acupuncture person has to be, they have to take Medicare, or they're definitely not going to cover it.
Okay, how long does the IRMAA last? Good question.
Good. Okay.
So I can answer this. So the IRMAA is going to be reevaluated every year, right? And they're always going to look back 2 years. So 2024 IRMAA penalties or surcharges are going to be based upon your 2022 income. Okay. So if your 2022 income was over the threshold, then you're going to have a 2024 IRMAA unless you've had a life-changing event such as you stopped working or you retire in that time span, and you can show that your income has been lowered. So they're always going to look back 2 years, and they're going to reevaluate it every year. So let's say you had high income in 2022 and you've got lower income in 2023. Well, come 2025, that IRMAA will drop off automatically. You don't have to worry about it.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, just want to stop here. So I've got a lot of you people put in your client. William Schmidt said he'd worked with Daniel Campbell, David Strelo, Aaron Butler, probably, Darren Neal, Aaron Lohman, Shanna Summit, Daniel, Nick Oberly, 5 stars, Stephanie helped me, Justin Cohen, Brian Schwartz, Bryce Wilson, Pete Scalzo, Jordan Seifert, Ken Tomberlin, Darren Neal, Josh Roof, Corey Caldwell. These are all the names of a lot of our agents, so it's really fun to see that.
Wow, good.
Okay, I will stop shouting their names. So
thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
That's good.
Okay, let's go to the next one. This is a Social Security question. My full retirement. Again, Robert Griggs is posting this from inside our Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, you should go look it up. Maybe we can figure out how to post a link in the chat. Can you figure that out? For what? For the Facebook group. We're going to put a link to the Facebook group in the chat. You can click on that either right now or once it's over and join the Facebook group. Ask your Medicare questions in there. We've got a wonderful person. Her name is Tara. And she is the one who's most active in that group on our team. If you join that group and you get random people like reaching out, other than somebody whose name is Tara, and you get somebody who's reaching out and saying, hey, I work with Medicare School, don't believe them. We don't reach out to you in that way, right? Terry Ansik is the only really person in that group that you should talk to over the phone about working with us. So there's a lot of agents in there that pose, and we kick out a dozen agents every day who are in there trying to sell people stuff. So, but join the group. You can get your questions answered. It's a really good time.
And also, every Monday, Central Time, 5 o'clock, I do a live stream event for our Facebook group.
It's called Medicare Monday. So we'll cover a different topic on Medicare, and it usually lasts around 30 or 45 minutes. So if you're looking to get educated about Medicare, join the MedicareSchool.com Facebook group. He just put a link in the chat, and you can join that and watch the Medicare Mondays every night at 5 Central.
Yeah, 5 Central.
Which is 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, 4 Mountain Time.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we answer this?
No,
My full retirement age is 67. I want to retire at 65. I have enough savings to pull from to meet living expenses from 65 to 67. I want to start collecting Social Security at 67. Will this help me minimize IRMAA?
Okay.
They're kind of unrelated.
Yeah, because if you're going to retire at 65, what's going to happen, you're going to go on Medicare, I'm assuming, so they're going to look back, let's say that's this year, they're going to look back at your 2022 income. So none of what you're saying there is going to minimize your IRMAA, because IRMAA is based upon your modified adjusted gross income. So it sounds like to me you're probably going to have an IRMAA anyways. If you're single, if you're above $103,000, couple $206,000. So if you have a life-changing event and retire, you can appeal an IRMAA for a couple years anyway. So I don't think you should have one. And now if your income stays up, it's just going to stay up. So I don't think that has any bearing at all that I can think of, Robert. So help me minimize IRMAA. I mean, when you retire, you're going to minimize your IRMAA if you're going to lose, your income for sure.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't see it.
Okay.
Hope that helped.
I have Medicare A and B this year. Do I have to sign again if I don't want to make any changes?
No, Maria. Look at it this way: your A and B is for life. You never have to do anything, but make sure you're paying your B premium, which comes out of your Social Security check, or they'll bill you for it. And the same thing is true with supplemental plans. They're for life. Never have to do anything but pay your premium. So the only plans that have to be monitored annually are Medicare Advantage plans and drug plans, because those are written for 1 year at a time. Those plans can come and go. The company can go out of business. They can change whatever they want to do. But A and B and subs, lifetime, Advantage, drug plans, 1 year at a time. That's it.
Okay.
And you don't have to change your drug plan or Advantage plan. If you like it, it just automatically renews.
Okay, that's a good question. Medigaps are universal, I'm sure you meant universal all over the U.S. Why wouldn't I just go with the company that has the lowest premium in my area?
Yeah. Well, here's why. What you want to, and by the way, the lowest premium company may be wonderful, but we don't just look at initial premium only. What we would want to do is look back at the history of the rate increases that company has taken in the last 10 years. And almost all of them report this, and we have access to those reports. So what we do is we look at that company's rate stability. Because sometimes, and not always, but sometimes a company they'll get aggressive and they're trying to track business, and so they can put out some lower rates, knowing that as soon as they start losing money, they're going to start bumping those rates up. So you want to be leery of that. Also, we're just leery of just regional companies that are only in a handful of states, that don't have a good market share because there's not enough people in those groups. And if the group is large, you're going to have rate stability. But if it's smaller and you've got a lot of health problems, that thing's going through the roof. So initial premium matters, but it is not the most important. It's stability of long-term rates, because they're all going up. But some companies tend to take more drastic and more frequent price increases than others. And those are the ones that you want to avoid.
Jaded Monk says, are you in California? So we're licensed in all 50 states. So you can call us from anywhere in the country, and we would love to help you. So yes, we work in California. It's actually one of our top 3 states, probably because, it's the biggest state. So, yeah. But yeah, we're very, very familiar with all the plans in California. Okay. I don't know if you can do this. Let's see. I know this may not be an easy answer, but what do you recommend for those of us who plan to spend much of our retirement out of the country?
Boy. Well, here's my view. If you are going to maintain a U.S. address, then I would personally go ahead and get something. Much of your retirement. Well, I'll put let's say it was me. I would definitely get my Medicare, and I would want to get either a supplemental plan or Advantage plan, as long as you have a physical address in the U.S., and I would keep that active if it were me. Now, again, once you're out of the country for usually 60, 90 days, then your health problem, your health care issues are going to have to be covered by that country's healthcare system. But maybe I don't know where you're going, but if it's not adequate, you want to come back to the States, you're going to want coverage here. And that's what I would do. And, as long as that fits in your budget, I would spend that extra money and make sure I had good health insurance waiting me here. Because things change. You're planning on that's the way it's going to look, but, I don't know. I just wouldn't want you to shoot yourself in the foot and not be able to get a supplemental plan or have to pay penalties on your Medicare B because you didn't take it. So I would do that. And by the way, you're only talking, let's say you had an Advantage plan. you pay your B premium this year, $174.90 and then or $174.70, and then get a zero premium Advantage plan. So at least you've got that. If you have a supplemental plan, they're average right now about $125 for a plan G, $90 on a plan N. So you're not talking about lots and lots of money to have that security net here in the States. That's how I think. But you'll have to decide.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Will an Advantage plan cover cataract surgery 100%? Good question.
No, it's not. Cataract surgery is an outpatient procedure, and so the majority of Advantage plans, you'll have a copay. It'll be reasonable. I would say in the neighborhood of $150 to maybe $250 per eye. So if you're having both eyes operated on, it's probably going to cost you somewhere between $300 to $500. And I know both eyes aren't going to be operated at the same time, but they're two different surgeries. So an outpatient surgery. Now there are some plans that your outpatient surgery is actually a 20% coinsurance until you meet your max out of pocket. So that would be kind of a bummer, because I think cataract surgery in that case would cost you, I don't know, probably $1,000 anyways. But most plans, it's not coinsurance. It will be a flat copay. So you'd have to look at the plan itself to know what that out-of-pocket responsibility would be.
Okay. Let's see.
Hey, Dave, a supplemental plan would, other than your B deductible. So if you had cataract surgery, you'd pay $240 and you're done. That's the beauty of supplemental plans.
Okay. I don't know if you can speak to this or not. Odd that Medicare B doesn't cover annual physicals any longer, so neither does my Medicare supplement, so no more cholesterol testing as an annual checkup.
Well, yeah, and that's going to be true. Now, listen, hey, Steve, if the doc says that it's medically necessary to do that kind of a checkup, then it'll be covered. Ask your doctor about that. Yeah, but it's just as a general rule, you're right. They're not going to.
What is your opinion on using GoodRx as your drug plan?
Well, GoodRx is not a drug plan. GoodRx is a discount plan, and I like them a lot. But what you want to do, Richard, is the reason you don't want to just have GoodRx is because two things. GoodRx is excellent. What's the other one? Cuban's group, Cost Plus RX. Yeah. They're good, but just on generic medications, you're not going to get some great deal on Eliquis or Xarelto or something like that, insulin. So I like them a lot, but again, that's not a drug plan. That's a discount plan. So what you should do, Richard, is just take a very low cost Medicare Part D plan. It'll do two things. And by the way, you can usually get them right now for 50 cents. There's a lot of them around 50 cents, couple dollars. They're very inexpensive. At least you have that plan in place in case you needed some big expensive medication. Because you go to GoodRx and you have cancer, it's not going to help you. But you have a Part D plan, you have cancer, going to help you in a big way. Because remember, the most you'll spend in 2024 is $3,300. In 2025, the most you'll spend is $2,000. And that happens whether you have a 50-cent premium or you have a plan that's $25. Doesn't matter. So use GoodRx. So what we tell people to do is if you got some generic meds, if it's a $10 copay at the plan and you can get it through GoodRx for $4, use GoodRx on that medication. No problem.
Okay.
But get a plan. And there are lifetime penalties if you don't. And they add up.
If I get a prescription drug that requires prior approval, how is that handled? Will the pharmacy contact the insurance company or the doctor's office need to get involved, or will it be me?
Yeah. Well, your plan documents will tell you exactly the process to follow for a prior approval. There's some paperwork. I frankly think you can fill it out. I know the doc's office can, but the insurance company's not going to reach out to you. They're going to have some type on their portal, some type of a system where that has to be submitted for that particular medication, why it's necessary, all those kind of details will be provided. And they'll get back with you really soon. I think they do it turnaround times like 72 hours, so it's pretty quick. And by the way, they do want to approve those. They want to make sure you get your medication, but some meds, they'll make you jump through that hoop before. So yeah, get doc involved, and the plan will tell you how to do it.
Okay, if I stop working 6 months prior to my 65th birthday but will continue under my spouse health plan, do I need to do anything with Medicare?
No, as long as your spouse's employer has 20 employees on the payroll or more, you don't have to do anything. Just stay on that plan. If it's 19 or less, you got to go on Medicare, A and B. Have to. So you're fine to wait. And what I always tell Paul is just compare it. See, here's what you want to find out. Find out what the spouse, your spouse who's working, employee only, what's the monthly premium, and then employee plus spouse, what's that premium? And sometimes that additional premium is more than what it would cost you to go on Medicare. And if it is, take Medicare. If it's less, take the group plan. And then once your spouse retires, then you're going to come in using what's called a special enrollment period.
Okay, this is a good question. So Greg Shackelford said, I just applied for Medicare A and B in December. Medicare assigned a Medicare A start date of July 1st, 2023. I requested Medicare to be effective January 1st, 2024. What happens now to 2023 HSA contributions?
Okay, so what happens is this. You were eligible to contribute to max all the way through June. So no new money should go into your HSA July 1 on. However, if you have not been putting in the max, I wouldn't worry much about that. So Josh, I think this year's amount was $3,850 or $3,950 plus the $1,000 catch-up. So you were eligible for about $5,000 anyway. So let's do it this way. So that's about what, $400 a month. So he was eligible for 400 times to 6. So you'd be eligible for $2,400 that you could have put in. If you put above that, now you're going to have a problem. So in other words, when you overfund your HSA, so in your case over $2,400, what happens is that money is now taxable, plus they give you a 6% excise tax. So you don't want to overfund it. But just because you were putting in all year long doesn't matter as long as it was not overfunded. It's the amount, not the exact dates that really matter here. Okay? That's why I was telling people earlier, when you go on Medicare at a later date and you enroll, they always backdate that 6 months, and that's what you saw. So you're fine up to around that $2,400 range, and your accountant would know that as well.
Okay, let's see. Our good undercover boss 2020 says, are good physicians turning away from Medicare patients?
Well, we don't see it a lot, okay, but I'm sure it happens some. Sure. I'm sure it does. So which
but there's just so many people on Medicare. It's such a
yeah.
It's not common. Let's put it that way.
No, but it
sometimes
can definitely
it can
happen now.
Okay, John Wasserman, should you look at changing supplemental plans after already on one? So yes, the answer to that's perfectly fine. So we usually see people switch supplement plans every 5-6 years, something like that. So they'll stay on it for a while, then maybe the premium's gone up a little bit and they'll reset and go down and lower their premium a little bit. So you will have to, in almost every state, have to answer some health questions to do that. But I don't know of anybody who really changes their supplement plan every year. It's usually like every 4, 5, 6 years sort of a thing.
Yeah, John, it's worth it. I agree with Josh, and I like the terminology resetting the clock, because I don't know how old you are, but let's say you're 70. If you went on 65, you're in a group that people are older. Some have died, and the likelihood of more health problems happening, that's higher risk. So the group is shrinking, getting older. And so if you can reset the clock and you're 70, you go in a new group, now most of the people are 65, 66 years old. So I think it's smart to do that. And it doesn't cost any money to check. Happy to run all that for you. Usually takes, sometimes we get immediate decisions, sometimes within a week, but it's very easy to do. We'd be happy to do it for you.
Okay. Here, you're supposed to scoot over here.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're sliding out of the frame.
I get to moving.
If I go with an Advantage plan, do I still have to pay Part B? Absolutely. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you have to have Parts A and pay for Parts B. Okay?
Yep. Exactly right.
Can you add an Advantage plan? Can you add an Advantage plan adding insurance that already exists after January? I'm not sure what that means.
Hey, Jack, reword your question, sir.
Okay. I live in Washington State. I'm 6 years old. My wife is turning 65 in May. However, she is drawing Social Security. She'll still be covered by my insurance. What do we do about Part A, B, and D 4 months before? So if she's drawing Social Security, she's going to be automatically enrolled into A and B. So what you want to do is figure out how much does it cost to have her covered under your group plan and what are the benefits, right? So you'll want to do a comparison side by side of, does it make sense for her to stay on Medicare, or does it make sense for her to stay on the employer coverage, or does it make financial sense for her to move over to Medicare A and B and maybe get like a plan N or a plan G and a drug plan? And so we would be happy to help you make that comparison. If you determine that, Medicare is more expensive, doesn't make sense to go on Medicare at this time, then you will simply, with that Medicare red, white, and blue A and B card that she's going to receive in the mail about 4 months before, she can flip it over, sign the back, and send it back in, and that will drop Medicare Part B off, and she will receive a new card in the mail showing only Medicare Part A. You do want to make sure that you know that there's no, even with Part A only, once she does that, she still should not be contributing to an HSA at all.
You can put in individually, but not family. But so just so you know, she's going to get her card mailed to her around the 15th to the 25th of January. Card's going to show up. And Josh is exactly right. If Medicare is not your best option, just turn the card over, as you already say, sign it, mail it back in. And they will drop off the B, and you can pick up B at a later date using what's called the special enrollment period. And you would make all those arrangements, like 3 months before you get ready to retire and lose the group plan.
Okay, Maria Ines Jensen says, how do I get dental and vision coverage? So give us a call. Yeah. 800 numbers scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We'd love to help you find that.
Yeah. Because it varies, Maria, where you live. There's a lot of variables there. So we can help you with that plan, though.
Okay, this is a good question. Laura from our Facebook group says, Medicare in Plan G started December 1st. Is surgery and the related expenses covered less the $226 deductible? So if you had the surgery in the month of December, yes, the deductible amount would be $226, and then 100% of the bills over that after Medicare pays, that Plan G is going to pay 100% of the bills after that. You put another comment here that surgery is a full knee replacement. So yeah, absolutely. Now, if that happens in January or after, you would be under the 2024 Medicare Part B deductible, which is $240. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That is a good question. Sue Zirkle, how do zero premium advantage plans make money? Okay. Well, how it works is they get about $1,000 a month from Medicare. So anyone that enrolls into an Advantage plan, you're worth about $12,000 to that company. And the rules are 85 cents of every dollar they get has to go to someone's care within that Advantage plan, membership. So they keep about a 15% profit margin. So they are paid by the government because now they are now responsible for your healthcare services. And so that's how they make money. They get a 15% margin. And really the issue with the Advantage plans that I have a problem with is some of their rules that require pre-authorizations. That's a big deal today because the Advantage plan has the final say-so, not your doctor. And so that's how they make money because they flat out, and you can go online and see all kinds of testimonies about this, but they're going to make their 15% margin, even if that means that you need a knee replacement and they say, no, you don't. You need to go to therapy, or you need to take shots in the knee, or you need a hip replacement. Doc says you need a full hip and they say, no, you don't. We are going to pay for a rod. That's how they make money, by delaying and denying services. And I'm not saying they always do that, but it happens enough where it'd be very concerning to me with the Advantage plan. Okay, Margaret Turner says, will the supplement plan cover the copay if I am on a prescription plan? The answer to that is no. Yeah. They're not gonna cover your copays on your drug plans. They cover after Medicare A and B pays, they pay the rest. That's right. Yeah. Just look at a drug plan. It's standalone. It's totally separate plan, separate rules, separate deductible, everything. Hey, I want to go back to that question though about the Advantage. Another way in which they make money is that you have a zero premium, but it's not going to be free for your healthcare services. You're going to be paying as you go. So you go to the hospital, it's not free. It's $350 a day for 5 or 6 days every time you're hospitalized. You're not going to get an outpatient surgery for free. You're going to pay a copay. So that's how they make money. They structure these plans so that $1,000 they get every month, they're going to keep their $150, and then you pay as you go on that system. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Can we use your service if we sign up with another service? We'd be happy to help you, but you would have to switch plans. So generally these, we can't become your agent of record or anything like that. If you want to switch plans, happy to help you explore, and then you could work with us. Yeah, if it's in your best interest. So. Yeah. Does Medicare cover portable oxygen concentrators? Yeah. They do. I would, again, look at the prerequisites on that.
If it's medically necessary for you to have that, I'm just sure they do. I've looked them up before.
Oxygen concentrator.
Yeah, go ahead.
Covered by Medicare. Let's
Be
see.
durable medical equipment.
Yeah. Okay. From Medicare.gov. Medicare Part B covers the rental of oxygen equipment accessories that your doctor prescribes for use in your home. Okay.
Nothing else?
If you meet the conditions above, Medicare pays for. Okay. So if you own your own equipment, Medicare will help pay for oxygen, content, and supplies for the delivery of oxygen when all these conditions are met. Your doctor says you aren't getting enough oxygen, your health might improve with oxygen therapy, and your arterial blood gas levels fall within a certain range. So if you meet the conditions above, Medicare help pays for the systems that provide the oxygen, the containers that store the oxygen, the tubing and related supplies for the delivery of oxygen and oxygen contents. Can also pay for a humidifier.
Portable.
Portable?
Portable,
Oh.
that's what he's asking. That's all right.
I don't see anything on here about portable.
At all?
Yeah, I would just probably talk with the provider.
You use portable oxygen concentrators. Yeah, just see what it says. I'd like to know.
Not saying anything.
Okay. Interesting. Well, Joe, they may not. I thought they did.
Yeah, it's. I think it's kind of a hit or miss.
What I would do, Joe, call the durable medical equipment provider, and if they're under contract with Medicare, then they'll know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sorry that we don't. Portable, boy, if someone, I can't imagine them not covering it.
Here's a testimony for supplements. My sweet wife has A and B in Plan F. She has had 2 major surgeries and a pacemaker implanted, and our cost other than premium has been 0. Very satisfied.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, James. That is very true.
Okay, does Medicare A or B pay for any meds for insulins or surgeries?
Okay, so
Self-administered are pretty much going to be on you.
right,
But pump insulin is covered under Part B.
That's true. That's good.
Right.
For surgeries, for sure. So that's going to be under Medicare A. It will pay while you're any meds that you have to take while you're in the hospital will be covered by A. And Josh is right. If you have an insulin pump, B is going to pay for your insulin. But here's the thing: if you're not on a pump right now, because of the new laws, the most that someone has to pay for on a copay on insulin right now that's covered by the plan is $35 a month. So insulin's so much cheaper. Now, not all insulins are going to be in every plan. That's why you got to shop to make sure you're on the right plan. But they changed that in 2023 this year. Where the max copay was $35 for a month's supply of insulin, and most of them are covered. Not all.
Okay, does Plan G pay the Part A hospital deductible?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Pays everything but the B deductible. So everything on that A side, your deductible, your copays for hospital and skilled nursing, all covered by your Plan G and N.
Okay, if I began Medicare coverage on April 1st, does my coverage go from April through March or after the first of the year from January to December?
Okay, well, your Medicare is lifetime, so I think what you're asking about is probably...
Maybe if you get with an Advantage plan, it would go from April to the end of the year, and then there will be some benefit changes. If you go with a drug plan, it will go from April to the end of the year, and then there will be some benefit changes. If you go with a supplement plan, those benefits don't change, right? So you may get a rate increase 12 months later. But though that would be a little more like policy anniversary driven, whereas Advantage plans and drug plans are calendar year, so it'd be April through the end of December.
That's right.
Let's see. Can I retire? Can I retire to age 65, apply for A and B, but not collect the Social Security checks and pay my premiums out of pocket, then wait till my full retirement age to start getting checks?
Absolutely. Yeah, they're two separate decisions. So you would just self-pay. They have a system called Medicare Easy Pay where it's a monthly bank draft, or you can just get a bill quarterly and pay that way. You can also now pay with a credit card. Yeah, those people who collect points, you can pay your Medicare B premiums with a credit card, unless you're on Social Security.
Okay. Let's see. Go to another one. Will Part B or D cover orally administered drugs given to me in an ER or hospital? How does this work?
Yeah, well, if it's ER hospital, that's going to be covered under Part B. Because your D plan just covers the meds that you have self-administered. So for an ER or hospital, that's professionally administered, we can be covered by A or B.
Okay.
B in the emergency room, A in the hospital.
After retirement, is Social Security income affected by other income investments? If so, what is the best way to minimizing tax?
Okay, yeah, it is. I think what you're asking is how much of your Social Security income would be taxable. And the official word is called your provisional income. That's the most common, provisional income. And so for a married couple, this year, if you are below $32,000 of provisional income, zero of your Social Security is taxable. If you're between 32 and 44, 50% of your Social Security income is taxable. But if you're above 44,000, 85% of your Social Security income is taxable. So for everybody, at least 15% is exempt from income taxes, federal. And there's a lot of states that don't charge, income taxes on Social Security. Some do, some don't. So hopefully that helps. So yes, it all goes in. It's all going into provisional income, because here's the way it works. Provisional income formula is your modified adjusted gross income plus half of whatever your Social Security income is. So all your income, modified adjusted plus half Social Security, that number then is applied to the provisional income table. And that's what I was telling you. As a couple, below 32, 0% taxable, 32 to 44, 50% is of the income taxable, above 44, 85%.
Okay, would you please explain the process to apply? And guys, we're almost done here. Would you please explain the process to apply for Medicare and how long it takes from the date of application until the date coverage is effective?
Okay, let me tackle it.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, first thing, Jim, you'd want to do is I would set up an SSA.gov account. That's the easiest thing to do. If you already have one of those, then that's done. You'll have some login credentials. If not, then you would want to go to SSA.gov and create that account. And I think we like the one login ID, right? Yeah, I think that's a little bit easier. You have two options. It's called login ID or ID me, and I think login ID is a little bit easier. So set up your SSA.gov account, and then from there, once you have that, then you can enroll into Medicare A and B. And just so you know, Jim, if you want us to help with that, if you're ready to go on Medicare, we're happy to do all that for you and with you. Our guys do it every day, all day long. But if you do it on your own, we start with a myssa.gov account, and then once you have that, then you'll be able to go online and enroll in Medicare A and B only. You don't have to apply for Social Security at the same time, just an A and B application. And that process takes you about 10 minutes. It's really, really quite simple to do. And we'd be delighted to do it for you if you'd like us to.
Okay, guys, a couple more questions, then we're going to wrap it up. Good day. I'm turning 65 the end of September 2024. When should I apply for Medicare? Can I wait to sign up in early January 2025? So when is the earliest and or the latest that I should apply?
Okay, well, just really, David, depends on if you're still working. So what is he saying about, do we know that?
If you're still working, you can apply when you're 80 years old. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, what were his dates? We lost it there.
What happened? Oh, here you go.
Okay, at the end of September, so August, July, June. Okay, so you can, if you want to start your Medicare, can I wait to sign up in early January 25? So September, October, November, December.
No.
Okay, you're kind of in a unique situation. If you're not working, then you want your Medicare to start September 1, and you can start signing up after June 1. It's always about 90 days before you can apply for Medicare. By the way, Social Security is about 4 months before, but Medicare is 3 months. And so then October, November, December. So if you want to start in January, David, you could. It gets real tricky here. So in other words, if you're going to keep working through the end of December and you want to start your Medicare January 1, you can still do that, but you would have to do that December of 2024. You'd have to, because that's the very last month of your initial enrollment period. And if we enroll the very last month, they'll start you then January 1. So you would have an A date, they'll backdate your A date to September, and you can select your B date January 1. So if you're not working, that's the latest you could do it. And don't go beyond that, because after that, you're going to have problems, penalties, all kinds of issues. All right? So hopefully that made sense, David.
My spouse has early onset dementia, 61 years old, was denied Social Security disability. When they start Medicare, will it cover home nursing care? If yes, will this force my Blue Cross Blue Shield supplement to cover the balance?
Oh boy.
Probably
Okay.
not.
So when they start,
That
well,
would be custodial care, right?
boy, Josh, in that situation,
Maybe.
home nursing care. Home health care, they do cover, but I don't think in that situation. Well, there's, you know what? I'm sorry. You're going to have to check up on that one. I just don't know. See, it's medically necessary. So, what kind of services would Medicare cover with home health care? That's what. Yeah, and so I would ask the provider that would order the home health care to find out if that is part of what Medicare would cover with someone that has dementia. Will this force my Blue Cross to cover the balance? Wow, I guess you must have a work plan, a Blue Cross Blue Shield to cover the balance. Well, Michael, if it's a supplemental plan, if Medicare doesn't cover it, that Blue Cross is not going to either. Because remember, supplemental plans follow. If you're saying you have a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan at work, then that could be a whole different situation, but it doesn't sound like you do. Oh boy. Yeah, I'd have to do a little research on that one, sorry. Yeah, that's complicated.
Okay, guys. Let's see. This is the last question. Arnetta Sterwalt, how much do I have to pay to get out of the donut hole on my drug plan?
Okay.
For next year, obviously.
Yeah. So, let's say it this way: the most you're going to spend is $3,300 in drug cost in 2024. So, what does it cost to get out? You may be on a plan that has a deductible that's going to be $545. When you go to that second stage, you're going to spend about another probably $1,000 in stage 2, and then you're going to spend the additional amount, which is about $1,500 in the donut hole, maybe $1,800 in the donut hole. But remember, no more than $3,300. That's it. And then 2025, nothing, because there is no donut hole in 2025. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Hey, if we can help you with Medicare, we would love to help you. Give us a call. The phone number is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. It's 800-864-8890. I'm going to go ahead and put this up.
And I do want to say one thing, folks. If you use us, remember there's no cost for our services. And frankly, any agent you use is not going to charge you anything because the agent's always paid by the insurance company. So regardless of who you go with, whatever carrier, they pay us. They pay us a commission. So it doesn't come out of your pocket. It really doesn't. And let's say if you were going to go with United Healthcare and you went with them direct, the premium they'll charge you direct is the same premium that you would pay through us. We don't set the premiums. The insurance company does. So there's no cost at all of using our services. And we think we bring a lot of value to the table because, we have a U.S.-based customer service team, which is awesome, instead of you having to be, transferred over to the India or Philippines or someplace. That's nice. And then we can also help you on an annual basis, instead of just being a number of, one of, millions of people with some big carrier. So no cost to you, and we'll do it all.
Sounds good. Thank you all. Call that number on that screen. We would be honored to help you.
Yeah.